Good morning, students. Hearty welcome to Gurukul lectures on this Engineers Day. What is engineering? Engineering is a branch of science and technology that concerns us with design, the building, the electronics, the artificial intelligence, besides the use of engines, machines and structure. Typically well-known branches of engineering that we have heard of as the mechanical, the civil, the marine, the environmental, the computer, the biomedical, the electrical, the electronics, aerospace, chemical, industrial, nuclear. So we know that engineering permeates into every strata of life that we live on this earth. Without engineering, we are helpless. Engineering influences in a positive way. It aids us. No engineering, no human life. So typical examples that we get to see are shown here. You can see there's a mechanical engineering. There is civil engineering as far as construction is concerned. There is nuclear engineering, without which we cannot have power. It even has military uses. We have computer engineering. No fast computers, no gaming, no simulation, no watching of or streaming of music and movies. We have marine engineering. Without marine engineering, no transport of food or other items across countries. Whenever you have to carry lots and lots of cargo, it is only the shipping lines that help us. Marine engineering deals with that. Then we have electrical engineering. Electrical engineering, without which we cannot transport power from one end to another. Hydroelectric, or whether battery based or coal power plant fired ones. We also have electronics engineering. No electronics engineering, no high end chips for playing games on laptops. The Ryzen processor is very famous. Yes, indeed. Then we have food engineering. Food engineering, without food engineering, our soldiers or people living in the higher reaches of the mountains, they cannot have food all round the year. So, engineering influences our lives in a positive way. Origin of engineering. The concept of engineering originated since ancient times, when humans devised fundamental tools such as the pulley, the lever, the wheel. They also identified the fulcrum. Without pulley, we know we could never take out water from deep wells. Without lever and the fulcrum, we could not move heavy objects from one place to another. And wheels, without wheel, there would be no transport. One cannot walk especially with lot of weight or high end of cargoes. We cannot walk. We need wheels to move them. Since ancient age, engineering can be seen. The ziggurats of Mesopotamia, which is now Iraq in the Gulf, we have seen the construction. We know about the pyramids of pharaohs in ancient Egypt, or even our modern architecture as well as layouts, Indus Valley civilization. We also know about the Acropolis and the Parthenon in ancient Greece, and of course the Great Wall of China. We have seen the construction. We have seen the great construction of all these monuments, which are some of which are also identified within 7 wonders of the world in the ancient age. Now, this construction of these monuments would not have been possible had there been no use of lever, pulleys or wheels, or identification of the fulcrum. Now, this is very important that our ancestors knew about lot of engineering. Even Taj Mahal in India, if you look carefully, look at its symmetry, it really amazes us that what kind of workers with their engineering skills were put to use at that point. So, we know that in our ancient age, our ancestors knew about civil and military engineering also. In the Middle Ages, we had ancestors who harnessed the wind, and with this we had wind-powered machines. For example, the windmill, the wind pump, they appear in the Islamic Golden Age. Even steam-powered machines by application, steam jack, steam turbines are described way back in 1551 by Taqi al-Din Muhammad ibn Maruf in Ottoman ruled Egypt. The Ottoman Empire promoted science and engineering to a great extent. Then came the age of Renaissance in Europe, wherein the first steam engine was built in 1698 by mechanical engineer Thomas Savery, who along with James Watt made the possibility of development of the steam engine which could actually run. The development of this or harnessing of this steam gave rise to the Industrial Revolution in the coming decades. We all know the golden age of Renaissance in Europe, wherein lots and lots of job opportunities and heavy industrialization took place. In the modern era, that is post-Renaissance, the invention of Thomas Savery and the Scottish engineer James Watt actually gave rise to modern mechanical engineering. They used steam as the fuel to move lots and lots of wheels, using pulleys, using gears, and a steam locomotive could be developed. We all know, instead of having animal driven carts, the modern locomotive could transport lots of cargo from one place to another, and that too over great distances. And besides that, we had no or dependence on animals and men. The number of men involved, number of people involved in the workforce to transport cargo from one place to another got reduced. Things became much more efficient. Things that could be accomplished using minimal effort. Likewise, the discipline of electrical engineering was shaped by experiments of Alessandro Volta in the 19th century. We all know that a lot of batteries are still named after Volta. Even the word volt is derived from his name as a mark of respect. The experiments were also carried out by Michael Faraday, George Ohm, and others, which led to finally the development of the electric motor way back in 1872. We also have to this date ohm as the unit of resistance. We also have Faraday as a SI unit, as a mark of respect to these pioneers in pioneering engineering. In fact, the first PhD in engineering was given out at Yale University way back in 1863. In the modern era, even James Maxwell and Heinrich Hertz in the late 19th century gave rise to the field of electronics, from electrical to electronics. Till this date in physics, we have Maxwell's equations, 4 Maxwell's equations, and Hertz is the unit of frequency. Chemical engineering, like its counterpart in mechanical engineering, developed in the 19th century during the Industrial Revolution. Lots of industries were established throughout Europe and production was promoted. So likewise, the demand actually drove development of engineering in all its aspects. Again, in the modern era, we had successful flight exhibited by the Wright brothers. Charles and Wilbur Wright, they made a biplane, and in 1920s, and aeronautical development and aeronautical engineering actually happened due to onset of the two world wars. Still in World War I, aeroplanes were still in their infancy, and the fight was dominated by the army and the navy, whereas within a short span of 10 odd years, the World War II happened, and in World War II, the aerospace, if I may use the word aerospace, because lot of Air Force and engineered Air Force aircrafts were used, and that's where the development of the Air Force picked up, wherein they dominated even the army as well as the navy. Who knows better than Germany and Britain, who fought many a war in the air, and that war is also famously known as the Battle for Britain. We had lot of aircraft by the name of Spitfire, which was developed by the Britishers, and they took on the might of Luftwaffe, which was the Air Force of Germany. In all this, it is not that Indian engineers have lagged behind. We are proud to say that we had lot of good Indian engineers. India has produced lot of engineers, but unfortunately, most of their works were not documented. What we see today in India are the monuments. We look at lot of beautiful, intricately carved engineering marvels in terms of temples, most of which are located in the southern part of India. We also have lot of mosques, then we have the Taj Mahal. In southern part of India, lot of temples can be seen which are actually carved out of a solid rock. Mahabalipuram, now known as Mamallapuram, is a hotbed of engineered temples. If one goes over there, you can actually see lot of temples which have been carved out top-down approach. That is, the temples were carved from top to bottom on a monolithic structure, that is, a single rock. We all know about our famous engineer E. Sridharan, who is also known as the Metro Man of India, for his contribution towards the Indian metro. Not only did he participate actively and led teams for development of metro, but also he was one of the architects of the development of Konkan Railway. We are proud to have, I would say, engineers, the aerospace engineers in our ISRO, which is Indian Space Research Organization, who are responsible for the success of India's maiden Mars mission, the famous Chandrayaan. We can imagine that the kind of effort that these engineers have put in to make India a great aerospace power, despite the fact that most of the technology has been denied to us either by the Western countries, Europe, America, or even by the Russia or other countries of Soviet Union. We don't expect China to help us, and hence it is only based on the efforts, the tireless efforts of aerospace engineers of the country, that Chandrayaan could materialize. Indian engineers actually owe their reputation. Engineers Day is celebrated after huge contributions and significant influence on the Indian society by one of the first established engineers, M. Visvesvaraya. He was born in 1860, and when Britishers were actually ruling over our country, he made very significant contributions in the field of water supply, irrigation, which benefited numerous citizens of the country. We also know about engineers like Narayan Murthy and Nandan Nilekani, who decided to pool in their expertise, and the result was Infosys, which is a company that is recognized worldwide for its excellence. So we will discuss more about Indian engineers who made a contribution, a positive contribution in our lives over time. So the legacy of several famous engineers is carried forward by engineers of today who were not content with hefty salaries and paychecks and the perks that they get in their companies, but are ready to leave the comfort of their plush offices to contribute towards the betterment of the society. They established themselves and they have made a significant positive influence on us. They inspire us continuously. First, Sir Mokshagundam Vishveshwaraya is remembered for his role in revolutionizing the flood protection system in Hyderabad and Krishna Raja Sagar Dam near Mysuru. He received the knighthood. He is the only person to have received the knighthood from the Britishers and Bharat Ratna from the Indian government. His birthday is celebrated as Engineers Day not only in India but also in Tanzania and Sri Lanka. 15th September is a very significant day for all engineers and common citizens like us. Why is contribution of Sir Vishveshwaraya important? He had the vision for nation building and he was a prolific civil engineer, dam builder, economist and a statesman. He was an all-rounder. He was a complete engineer. As inventor of the block system, he is known the world over for his contribution to harnessing of water resources and consolidation of dams across the country. He is therefore referred to as honorably as the father of Indian engineering. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I don't think any citizen of India and many people abroad would not be knowing Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Most of us, we know him as the 11th President of India during his tenure from 2002 to 2007. But very few people know that he graduated in aerospace engineering before joining Aeronautical Development Establishment of DRDO. He worked abroad as a missile scientist. He learned the technology. He came back to India. He gave his best towards development of the missile systems in India. He is also known as the Missile Man of India. He brought in the technology, the air breathing technology also, besides the conventional ones. So, he is a very famous engineer who influenced our lives to the hilt. We all know about E. Sridharan. He is credited with building of the Konkan Railway and leading the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. He was first awarded the Padma Shri and then Padma Vibhushan, besides the Chevalier de la Légion d'Honneur by the French government. He has been recognized as one of the Asia's heroes by Time magazine way back in 2003. He continues to live an active life even after retirement, and he also delved a bit into politics, but he brought in the culture, the discipline, a positive attitude, and he made many things possible as an engineer which many people thought would not be possible. Satish Dhawan, he is also known as the father of experimental fluid dynamics research in India. He has made immense contributions in field of aerospace, and he is known as the ISRO's, Indian Space Research Organization's Rocket Launch Center at Sriharikota is named in his honor as Satish Dhawan Space Center. Dr. Anil Kakodkar, he was a mechanical engineer and nuclear physicist who served at Bhabha Atomic Research Center. He also received Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan awards from Government of India, and he was involved as one of the core people in conduct of Pokhran 2 nuclear tests. We all know about N.R. Narayana Murthy. He co-founded Infosys and he has been named as one of the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time. And respectfully, he is also known as father of the Indian IT sector. Dr. Tessie Thomas, very few people know her, but she is an Indian scientist and Director General of Aeronautical Systems, and she was the first woman director for the Agni 4 missile system under DRDO. We also know about Raghunath Anand Mashelkar. He has been the Director General CSIR, and he has contributed immensely to the transport department. We all know Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google and its parent company Alphabet Incorporated in US. He innovated Google's products such as the Chrome, the Google Drive and the Google Apps. He is a household name in the world. He has been a student, an engineering student in IIT. Same with Satyanarayana Nadella. He is the executive chairman and CEO of Microsoft Corporation. And we all know that still 90% of India and people abroad use Microsoft products in one form or other. He was one of the influencers for creation of cloud computing. So we also see engineering in nature. We know about beavers who build dams so that they're able to access food during winter. We also know about ladybirds and tailor birds. What they do, they make wonderful engineered nests. So we should feel inspired from our Indian engineers and strive to work more towards and deliver more towards the society. So finally, we know the famous words of Sir Vishwesvaraya that no one person can shape the life of another. The success and happiness depends upon one's own self. Think and have a plan for life. Thank you so much.